Thanks for taking the time to talk to us here at Explore 2024. So Joe, can you tell us a little about, you had some time on the stage today, right? Several times actually. Could you tell us a little bit about what is being announced here at Explore in Barcelona?
Yeah, there's a few things. What we were really talking about was advanced services. There was the announcement about VCF-9, and Paul Turner talked a lot about that and what we're going to be doing in VCF-9, and it's going to obviously be rolling out in 2025. Yeah. But more so, it was about what we're doing with the sort of layer above that, which is advanced services. So the piece that I was talking about was about some of the things we're adding in that space. So the way to think about it is advanced services is kind of like if you went to a public cloud, you expect to have access to databases and access to security tools and other load balancers, just click and off you go. So that's exactly what advanced services is here. So now we're announcing the fact that things like Avi load balancer can be provisioned through SDDC manager. You just do that in VCF. And the specific announcements we made were around Tanzu data services. So now we've got open source databases like PostgreSQL, MySQL, we've got messaging like RabbitMQ, and then obviously Valkey for caching that are available as truly curated, pre-tested, integrated services that you can apply on top of your VCF. Add that to things like Intelligent Assist for vDefend, which is the chatbot you all know, to be able to chat to your security platform and say what's broken, why is it broken, how could it have broken, who broke it, how do I fix it for me, that kind of thing. It's really cool, actually, the demo we did of that. And so, yeah, there's a whole bunch of things we're announcing that really enhance the fact that VCF-9 is going to be that private cloud platform that everyone's going to build their future on, but more importantly, showing what's going to be on top of that future. That's really cool. Yeah.
Because we also saw a little, I remember like 12 months ago when we were here, we also had a little sneak peek on all these services that are set in on. So this is like this next step on that journey, I guess.
Yeah, we've been talked about a lot because we didn't really have a database or a data service on top of that was properly managed the way a cloud data service should be. So I'm proud that we've now got that both in Tanzu data services and in Data Service Manager as well. That's actually in the VCF platform. So it's truly becoming a mature cloud platform. Add on top of that all the container application, platform services that we've got as well, and security and load balancers, and then of course private AI. And you started to realize that it's a truly rich and comprehensive platform.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about, it's hard to predict the future, but maybe, putting some ideas into where you're going? I mean, there's a strategy we heard about, but how is the evolution of the VCF platform? How do you see that?
I think it was a famous Danish person, Niels Bohr, who made a quote about prediction, right? But I think when we look at what's going to happen with VCF-9, the first thing actually is about a deployment cadence. That's really important. So, historically at VMware, we've kind of, maybe brought out VCF every 2 years. It's not been clear when the components have been coming out, and vSphere would release, and then NSX would release, and there's customers out there with these frankly terrible support matrices trying to work out when can I upgrade and how can I upgrade from 5.1 to 5.2, and this isn't right and whatever. So the first thing is all of the products will release at the same time. So that's the important thing when we look at the future. So when VCF-9 comes out, there's going to be NSX-9, ESX-9, vSAN-9, et cetera, et cetera. There's a defined cadence. So you'll have 9.1 every 9 months after that, and then 9.2, 9 months after that, and then 9.3, 9 months after that. Okay. And so the next big version will be version 10, which will probably be about 3 years. So now we're going from 2 years to 3 years. We're going for predictability so our customers can actually know that they're going to build on a nice solid platform. There's a good solid roadmap around both 9.2 and 9.1 and 9.3 as well as to what we're putting in that today. But events like this, events that we have at VMUG, feedback we have from CTABs and other events is what really feeds into that roadmap and then helps us decide what we're doing next. 9 is pretty much locked, but what's into 9.1, 9.2? But I think what you can look at there, really, what are we going to see in it? What are we going to see in it? Much, much better automation. Much, much better fleet level. We use this term fleet level management all the time. You hear people say fleet level management. That's trying to make it as easy as possible for you to manage this environment, make it as simple, actually make it truly cloud-like. And don't forget there's going to be a whole bunch of other features coming in that initially a lot of customers will be, I'm not really sure how or why I'd use that, but over time they'll mature. Multi-tenancy, So VCD, which people have known for years, vCloud Director, the old lab manager, has been there run by cloud service providers for years. That's now coming as part of VCF. So every VCF customer is going to have access to multi-tenancy. And we're going to have multi-tenant features coming into VCF-9. So again, as you look forward, I always encourage people to go and look at what you already own. The conversation I have mostly with customers, you'd be surprised the number of times I go to a customer and they go, oh, we're looking at doing this, solving this problem, and we've been looking at these 7 vendors to go and spend money with. And I'm like, you already own that. It's part of VCF, or it's part of whichever product you already own. So, and that's not just with us, that's with any vendor really. So there's going to be so much coming and so much already in VCF. I think people need to properly sit down and see what they're getting and what they can take advantage of.
Okay. So here, will that be just thinking about that as well, and also thinking a little about Broadcom and who they are as well? Will we see a hypervisor on a chip at some point, maybe?
Who knows is the answer to that one. I think you're going to see, so there's some exciting stuff going on in the silicon space. I mean, when we look at what we're doing around specifically Broadcom in that space, we're obviously the providers of TPU chips and AI chips, and more importantly, the hyperscalers. At the same time, we provide all the networking interconnects between those. And in fact, if you look at how people are building these huge AI clusters, we're leading the way with Ethernet, which actually starts to come up to technology like Sonic, for example, which is becoming a bit more well-known in the VMware world. But realistically, I've got people in Broadcom talking about 52 terabit and 104 terabit networking, right, which just blows my mind, okay? But when we start to see that, and you start to see the brains coming together between the team that's building VCF and the team that's building highly connected, highly, powerful AI clusters connected with this Ethernet, et cetera, you can just imagine what we're starting to do, right? Even down to, it's known today, but putting the optical interconnects on the chip. So that's the first thing, right? So you'll get a chip and you'll plug the optical interconnect straight into it. It's phenomenal, right? So trust me, there's, VCF-9 is just the start of where we're going to go. And I was at a session yesterday with one of the IDC analysts, and he was talking to our CIO audience, and he said that, which I was very proud of, he said that they are building, by being in that room, they're building the strategic relationship with probably the most important AI vendor in the marketplace today. Okay. Because, people look at VMware and they think private AI foundation, great, but if you look at Broadcom, wow, it's exciting.
Exactly. Maybe just a couple of words, if you could. I mean, we already talked about, what lies ahead, and I think in itself there are opportunities out there for sure. But what would you think that partners should be currently looking at engaging with their customers?
So there's a whole range of opportunities out there, and we're putting essentially the foundations in place for people to have huge opportunity with their customers. The first thing I'll always say, and I will point out, is that whenever I have conversations with customers about technology, it always ends up being about a conversation about people and process. Okay? And so the technology works. You can go out there and explore or look at any of these events. The technology is there, it works. What stops it working is people and process. And so I think when we look to our partners, it's about working with our customers on making sure that their people, their process are evolving to best consume this technology. And so as a partner, you should be the expert, not just in our technology, but in how our technology gets deployed, how our technology gets properly consumed, and how it makes a true difference to their business and their applications. So from a partner perspective, the opportunity is huge going forward, because we're going to be going out there with this standard private cloud platform that everyone's going to be using. And at the same time, they're going to be putting exciting new workloads on it, like private AI. Repatriation is a fact. Over 80% of surveyed CIOs by Barclays and by IDC both said that they are looking at or actively repatriating workloads back from the public cloud. So, when you go out and talk to customers, whereas you sort of rewound 5-6 years, it's everything's going to the public cloud, how do we fit into that space? The reality is no, every customer is going to have private cloud. They need to make sure they now look at that, because a lot of them have neglected it, because it was like, well, we're going to public cloud, so I don't need to invest in private cloud, do I? Because it's dying, it's going away. Now they're turning around going, we need this thing, we need to make it really, really robust, we need to make it stand up and hold its own against public cloud and truly build it as a platform as a future. And who better to do that for them than our huge and fantastically talented partners? Yeah.
Well, sounds exciting for sure, and we are very interested in following the journey ahead. And it actually leads me to the partners. So if you want to know more or learn more and want to have enablement, so please reach out to your local Arrow representative. Thank you, Joe, for taking the time to talk with us today.
Great to chat always. Thank you.